Good morning, everyone. Welcome to THETA 2017. My name's Steve Johnston. I'm the Director of Strategic Procurement at Cordit. We're the conference organisers, and we're heavily involved with the vendors that are helping us out with this conference, and we'd encourage you all to visit and thank them personally up at the exhibition area if you could. They're very important to the conference that we run, and they bring a lot of funding towards the conference, and it's just not possible to have this sort of conference without their support. And so in addition to their sponsorship and the exhibition, we invite particular sponsors to talk during the session, and today we're hearing from it's Aruba, HPE Aruba. And I don't have a bio for HPE and Aruba because they've changed on me. So this morning we've got Andrew Fox, who's the country manager of Aruba in New Zealand, and he'll then be introducing Paul McLean from Avondale College. They're a very large user of is it the wireless products that you're using heavily everywhere? Everything. Fantastic. So we'll start with Paul, with Andrew. Please make him welcome.
Thanks, team. So this morning, we're very proud to be a sponsor of THETA 2017. But this morning, we're going to try something a little different. You don't need to hear from me as a sales guy. What we thought we'd do is introduce a customer with a great story and someone that's managed to do some really innovative things in education and really challenged some of the accepted norms and things that we've believed for many, many years. But using our technology, which is great. So our technology underpins that. We'll talk a little bit later about maybe some of the big picture things that help Avondale College innovate as they do. But I would, for the main part of the presentation, like to introduce Mr. Paul McLean. Paul is the Director of Innovation at Avondale College, based out in Avondale here in Auckland. They've been Hewlett-Packard Enterprise customers for many years, but as you'll hear in a minute, latterly have taken a slightly different approach to delivering educational outcomes to their kids, and some very exciting work going on now at Avondale, but also out into the wider sector. So, Paul, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming along to this session. This session is normally, or this presentation is normally about an hour long. It doesn't put you to sleep, but it's part of a broader story. So if there are any questions at the end, I invite you to do those. But the key topics today, I'm just going to cover off a little bit of background, discuss the program objectives of the innovation program as a different model of education, step through the learning process, which I hope is a little bit different and exciting. Talk about not just the wireless demands, but the overall technology demands and the different type of use cases that we have as a college driving this digital proposition. Then drill into the technical value of the whole thing, and then wrap it up with some demonstrable evidence around the whole thing, which is obviously quite hard to get when you're putting wireless to market. But innovation program started in 2013 in response to ICT education challenges in New Zealand. We came up with a new model of education as a response. But the program objectives, if you can flick on, program objectives we came up to, we said, look, we can't put a new ICT program together unless we have a really strong understanding of what's occurring external to Avondale College in terms of the facilities we need to educate for. So what we wanted to do was assist New Zealand to generate wider choices beyond dairy and tourism, and really promote our talent getting into the tech sector of New Zealand. Increase the talent pool in terms of developing thinkers, digitally smart secondary school students who have got project experience, but are also industry certified through the secondary school. We wanted to reinvent or remodel or modernise the student engagement, delivery and assessment practice, and change the way we do that from instructional delivery, and instead of doing post-learning assessment, drive a new model which is based on immersion learning, project-style learning, getting the students industry certified, but bringing in real-time teaching, learning and student engagement software, which obviously from a technology point of view has got a whole range of complexity to pull together. Then we're into developing strategic educators or principals of the future to really promote their understanding and capabilities of driving new roles for schools. We're also into designing innovation and talent processes and outputs, potentially from Avondale College through this process, getting involved in the small to medium sector, driving talent into the top 100 in all layers of New Zealand, but then also change the model of the school. Rather than churning students through, we're going to change the strategic choice and actually have a look at the whole school and how it is a strong actor for regional talent development for New Zealand. But to do that, we need to transform our ICT environment, make that a blueprint for digital adoption going forward for New Zealand. So those are the objectives, and I'll try not to rush through things. But our philosophies and drivers to drive innovation in Avondale College needed a bit of a rethink, and what we've done now is instead of driving assessment or low-level learning, we've focused everything around the student themselves. So we do a lot of systems thinking, getting them to understand patterns of behaviour in society. We walk them through digital design processes using all the tools. We teach them to be agile practitioners, and we actually use agile in a way of doing software, design, creativity projects, but also in being able to cope with unfamiliar circumstances. I've got students today in classrooms at Avondale College picking up a wildcard change to their project formats, so teaching them how to deal with different circumstances on the fly, which is quite entertaining. But a strong focus on critical thinking, and those are the key elements we use to design courses, programs. They drive our decision making for technology adoption, and those are front and centre. But what we've done is create a project style learning environment, so rather than having a teacher at the front who teaches from a textbook or a course, the students are working on live industry styled projects, which is fantastic. This gives them proven experience, confidence. They become highly competitive, very collaborative, but they're designing solutions, which then requires us to bring in the industry certifications from Microsoft. The Microsoft Technology Associates is one of our big ones now for software development, networking, and all that sort of associated learning. Adobe Creative Solutions, and we've also taken on in the last couple of weeks Autodesk Fusion 360, so they're now doing advanced simulation, design, modelling and animation, which is absolutely fantastic. And we've embedded those qualifications directly into the New Zealand, Cambridge and our junior programs, and we're starting to do it right across the subject range. But all of that requires a bit of a rethink on the technology side of things. So we've got 2,800 staff, 2,800 students, 260 staff, 1,200 desktops, many peripheral devices, hundreds of them, different types, different facilities, 30 plus departments, plus business units, plus an international operation as well. We've also got another school integrated into our environment, but the whole side of things is shifting from, I guess, legacy style processes into highly intelligent learning facilities to drive a digital paradigm. So to do that, when about end of 2014, we set about a wholesale transformation of our legacy ICT environment, and that underpins now a significant staff change and paradigm change at Avondale College. Hybrid IT environments, and I guess the focus of the technology approach in terms of the ICT, it's a shift from I guess keeping the lights on, as you often hear with technology, into full end user empowerment, no matter if they're at home, at the desk, on the device, or wandering around the school. We've got an increasing use of Office 365 and Azure developments, and that underpins now software which we use to understand the learning style of students, the characteristics, what content they're working upon, how they're accessing this type of stuff. But as they deliver the projects, that gives us the ability to do real-time assessment. So we're slowly replacing the post-learning assessment or the formative and summative assessment, which tends to provide some barriers in fixing up learning. But all the automation tools and the industry platforms, we required software-defined networking is an absolute must-have, we say, but a strong, robust mobility or wireless platform through Aruba, and I'm doing Andrew's sales job here, was absolutely crucial to this, and I'll talk about some of the features in a minute. But we needed strong policy management, and we needed the ability to rely on this as we roll out commercial-grade mobility in response or in placement of BYOD, the Chromebooks and the tablets. So key differences. So rather than having the teacher at the front driving fact-based learning, we've got a different model. We did some analysis when we first embarked on this. If you ever look at the amount of time a teacher genuinely spends with a student away from the desk is actually about 2.89 hours per year if you have a direct teaching model. So that's shocking. But 80% of the students not necessarily engaged, and we've got legacy processes which drive admin heavily through the whole thing. But what we've transformed it to is an increasingly mobile environment, desktops as well, but a lot of end-user empowerment, immersive model with the industry certs. We've doubled the amount of time we can spend with students in class. And there's another 290 hours now we've actually created with extra timetabled and non-timetabled classes. But on a 763 role ICT program, we've created about 1,300 extra hours per year to actually manage the engagement with the students, which is phenomenal. That time's now being reinvested in scaling and broadening our digital transformation. Aruba reliability has enabled us to put in those real-time tools that have made all of this possible, and in terms of automating processes. And I run classes on Saturdays and holidays with kids anywhere from 40 to 60, and it's a breeze to be able to do it and rely upon the mobility technologies to make that happen. But the outcome for us, which is profound, our students are able to hit the ground running now with industry certifications, and we've met, or increasingly met our objectives to drive different talent into the marketplace. And I'll show you the growth of the program just at the end. But for the technical side of things, the rub of it with Aruba, we've got high-stakes learning environments going on. I was just talking to Andrew before. Saturday, we had masses of kids doing 30 to 40 projects simultaneously, different projects of all different types, doing the industry certifications, uploading, downloading, high-stakes learning, and if there's one interruption and it all goes down, it gets pretty chaotic. But not a heartbeat, not a problem at all with the Aruba facility, and this is all running through wireless simultaneously, which is absolutely fantastic. But from the deployment side of things, we've got a single SSID, which is great. We've got superb policy management now using the ClearPass technologies. It's a platform which we're now seriously looking at to drive meridian and location beacon services in terms of around the site, which is exciting. The security side of things, we've got a team of 3.5 in the ICT team, would you believe? 3.5 is not a lot. We're not focused on keeping the lights on. Our major call now is actually on the quality of learning outcome, if you like, and applications. It's not around security issues. It's around the actual quality of empowerment for the end user, which is fantastic. So Aruba's ClearPass and tools like that are fantastic. Affordability and scalability. We're now able to deploy technology and digitalness in all around Avondale and our partner schools very, very quickly, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'll talk about some of the scaling side of things which make that possible. But just to be able to drop in the access point and know that you can get a class of 50, 60 up and running dead easy is awesome. Cuts down the processes. But the overall thing for Aruba and all the underpinning technologies, it's become a strategic necessity for us to be able to drive this innovation approach going forward. Evidence, this is a bit of the trophy cabinet side of things for us. We've cleaned up proudly most of the Microsoft national competitions in New Zealand. We had, in 2014, when we first ran a pilot of this, we had one student came top in the world, his peer came runner-up, and his colleague came just 2% behind him. None of the students had actually been taught the syllabus directly. They've all been going through this project approach, and now with Aruba and all these tools, we've got an increasing use of high-end digital learning platforms and so forth, which has created this effect. We started out with 23 students. When we grew to about 297, I think it was, around 2015, we started to put the mobility side of things in and made all of those applications highly reliable, highly available. Our growth has just gone through the roof. But the actual outcomes on the outcome side of things, students are driving top-end NCA and Cambridge and academic projects, and they're picking up the industry qualifications all the way through in a live and highly mobile environment, which is absolutely fantastic. We're now scaling into another area of the school, which gives us 1,300 students. We've got 2 schools in the US we're looking at for 2018, which will probably deploy Aruba facilities and a package of networking facilities to get them up and running, and we're also working through how we get through to New Zealand schools as well. There we go. So that's a rush through my presentation, but the key focus for us now is to drive a education as a service model to make all of this available in an affordable, high capability, highly optimal manner for schools around New Zealand. Subscription-based wireless, tools and capability, but commercial grade solutions is probably the message I want to deliver today. And we can actually drive that through sector transformation with our partners we've now picked up along the way, HBE, Aruba, PSC and Certical and so forth. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
So, a pretty compelling story, and changing the way that education is delivered is no mean feat. So, kudos to the Avondale team, and we're really excited to be involved. Don't underestimate the size of the change required in the sector to make this work. The great news is that the change required in the IT team isn't as big as you'd think. So, just at a really high level, I'm not going to talk speeds and feeds and wireless and 802.11ac Wave 2 today. I'm going to talk at a really high level the kinds of things that the Avondale team have had to get their heads around, and that you would if you wanted to embrace an environment like this. And the first piece is the connectivity piece. Now, wireless is not that hard. I don't know, have it at home, right? How hard can it be? It's like saying, well, I went to university, so, tertiary education, not that hard either. I know how it works. Getting coverage in wireless around a university or a secondary school is reasonably easy. What is really hard, well, not hard, but takes a little bit of thought, is getting wireless that will support the kinds of density we're talking about in a campus. So it's no good if the lecture room works beautifully with 10 guys in it, but suddenly there's 250 people in it and the wireless goes down. That's not good. So the first thing Avondale had to do was get their heads around the density requirements of these massive groups of kids, 60 to 80 to 100, roaming around the campus. So how do you make sure they've got top performing wireless no matter where they are? How do you make sure they can jump up and move, maybe while they're doing something? So how do you walk from one end of the campus to the other while you're on a Skype call? Those kinds of things had to be thought about. Having something fall over in the middle of a lesson, or having a student talking overseas to somebody and walking down the other end of the campus and have it drop out in the middle, that all gets in the way of the learning. So that's the first conversation and the first thing that Avondale needed to think about. The second was around security, and as many of you are tertiary focused, you're no strangers to this. You cannot trust anybody inside a university campus or a school anymore. So the second thing Avondale had to get their heads around is, how do you secure this thing? How do we make it as flexible as we can? How do we make it high performance? How do we make it able to support all these different styles of learning, but not expose ourselves to nasty things, either nasty kids or malware or viruses or any of these kinds of things. So Avondale with our help, have adopted an approach where the entire network is colourless and it trusts nobody. So there's a port on a wall and that does nothing until I walk up and plug a device into it. That device is fingerprinted, it's profiled, I know what that is. That is a school-issued laptop. And then I log in with my school-issued credentials. It says, you're a school, you're a teacher, you're allowed access to the following areas of the campus, and it sets those up. If I'm not, what's a great example? A student that shoulder surfs the teacher's password and then logs in on their own laptop. Maybe the policies all say, hey, teacher logging in on a student laptop is a no. I don't know. There's lots of these kinds of things. Student logging in with teacher credentials from home. All these kind of things. So we worked with Avondale to make sure that it was flexible enough to cover all these kinds of things. And so every time a student connects to the network, they get only the access they should get based on their role. If a teacher connects, he gets a completely different set of accesses. It's all automatic and all controlled by role. The safety net conversation, as I said, it's great that we've now got all this amazing connectivity and can download high-performance wireless and do this amazing learning. But we ultimately need to be able to stop them if they do things that they shouldn't. So we can help Paul now to control what applications should have access, how much bandwidth each one should get. Should they be allowed to use YouTube? Yes, they should for their learning. Should they be allowed to torrent things? No, they shouldn't. Should they be able to use Chrome browser? Yes, they should. Should they be able to get to Wikipedia? Yep, that's fine. Should they be able to get to a porn site? No, that's not fine. All of that conversation happens in the network real time. And the last piece that we're working with Paul, all these devices down the bottom here, the different devices that are being connected to networks all around schools now, devices that traditionally came out of our homes, Apple TVs, you know, thermostats. Not sure whether you read the papers, but we had a very high-profile hack in the States recently at Home Depot, who installed a beautiful new air conditioning system, and that was built by aircon guys. It wasn't built by IT security guys. Hackers came in through the aircon and got access to everything inside of Home Depot's firewall, all their customer data, all their card data, all that stuff. Really, really nasty. We need to make sure that if you plug an air conditioning controller in, it only gets to see the aircon system, for example. You know, and kind of keep things straight like that. And the last piece, we've just purchased a company called Niara, which is exciting because it's this thing called User Entity Behavioral Analytics. Horrible name, but basically what it does for every student and every faculty member, it builds a profile of what normal behaviour looks like on the network. You know, Paul on any given day does 25 mega traffic, he goes to the mail server, he goes to these 6 other sites, works too long, but that's fine. Builds a profile, and as soon as he goes outside of that, it flags it and does something about it. So suddenly he's uploading spreadsheets to China, or suddenly he's trying to talk command and control to someone in Eastern Europe. That is out of the, out of the realms of normal. We're going to quarantine him, and we're going to tell someone, and we'll go and check it out. Maybe he's clicked on a dodgy link, and he's trying to dial home and get instructions from a botnet or something like that. You never know. So those kind of things are key to setting up a high-performance network. The exciting thing for us, though, is what's coming next. So Paul talked a little bit about some of the places we're trying to go. We're trying to help Avondale figure out what else you can do. Now you've got, everyone has a mobile device, everyone is connected to high-performance Wi-Fi. What can you do? The first thing we can do is exploit things like identity and location. So every student now has a device. They probably have an iPhone. Every student now might have a My Avondale application or something like that. Any student now can find their way. Our technology will let you pinpoint this device to the nearest 1 metre anywhere on a campus. So finding your way, imagine O week, day one, year one university student, find my way to the library. How the hell do I go to the library? And it's follow the, go 10 metres this way, take a left, go up the lift, down the stairs along the way. Those kind of things. We're talking to Avondale about exploiting these technologies to do that. Paul mentioned a little bit about real-time assessment and testing. If you can guarantee high-performance links, you can guarantee low latency. Suddenly you can start doing real-time testing. We're looking at for the NetPlan testing in Australia right now as well, which is quite exciting. And the last thing, well not the last, but the next thing we're talking about is trying to take advantage of other authentication methods. How else can we secure? How do we take advantage of the fact there's a fingerprint reader on this thing now and secure the network, or make that part of my two-factor authentication as a lecturer or as a student and things like that. So exciting times ahead for Avondale. As I said before, we're really excited to be involved in such a great project. And it's been a long-term strategic association, along with a bunch of other cool ecosystem partners, which is probably what makes it successful, to be honest. It's not just about Avondale and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. And that kind of brings to a close what I wanted to say, rather than get too technical. Are there any? We've got a few minutes for questions. 5, look at that, perfect. Anyone got any questions for Paul or myself? Otherwise, you're welcome to come up to our booth and have a bit more of a leisurely conversation about some of the things we found.
Yeah, I'm sorry to rush all through. It's a lot to condense in the time frame. So.
We have a question here.
Yep. Great question, because that was the gap I missed in the Prezzo to detail. So what we're putting in right now is a subscription-based mobility program. So rather than students going to a major retailer and forking over a credit card and getting a device that may or may not be appropriate, we're putting in a subscription-based approach, which is fantastic. So if their learning profile is A, when they're at year 9, they can subscribe at a very, very reasonable price with a top-end commercial-grade device. And if that learning program or their learning profile changes at year 10, they can give the device back, and that brings in all of the key value from the software and the authentication tools that we've got with ClearPass. Subscription-based is the best way to go for us. So it creates equitable approach. Yes, there's rigor we put around it in terms of loss, theft, and damage, and all that sort of stuff, but subscription is the approach. So students will obviously, they've got computers and stuff at home, but we're looking to broaden up Okay, good. So we've picked at the moment, we've got 5 in the range in terms of the major manufacturer we're working with. We're looking to expand that range now as the major players get heavily involved. But it's commercial grade stuff, the precision built laptops and devices, which is great. Good question. Huge. Great. Brent, the principal at Avondale College, has got a phenomenal reputation at the school, and the school itself drives a very high integrity approach to student education. I actually had a lot of complaints right at the start when I was rolling out this whole program, ironically from the student who came second in the world. And he went to America and did very well. But because it was new, we had to make sure the communication messages are very, very strong. And the overarching one is around shifting the paradigm from being less system-focused, assessment-focused, into a genuine student approach. And when parents and the community do come in and watch all our events unfold, it's pretty phenomenal and pretty powerful, and that circulates around. Obviously, we had a fair bit of press and publicity about the whole thing as well, which has worked well. But it's actually the students who drive most of the change for us. And they're actually producing all of the outcomes. They talk about it, and the work quality of it is phenomenal. I've got kids who were NCA level 1 last year doing industry qualifications. I didn't tell them they were actually doing NCA level 3 right until the end of the year. So that's the type of quality that the kids are working through. And all of that powerful messaging and stories just keeps going around, which is driving the change. On the staff side of things, it's been great. We've not adopted a traditional PD program, say 3:30 or 5:30 on a Monday or a Wednesday. We've used all of the tools, all of the content, and all of the accessibility to enable them at their own time, anytime, at home. We've got one of the points I did miss. We've got 119 staff with 378 industry certifications collected last year, and it's pretty profound. And I've not delivered a single minute of professional development with them. That's being able to access all of the content live, real time. Great question. So that we've developed software, our own software, which is not content management software, if you like. It's not assessment software. It's software that was built to actually understand the learning style of every single student that's in front of me. And we can tell now if a student's accessing a piece of content and there's the disengagement time, or they're not happy for some reason. And because they're working on project objectives, I can go straight in and talk to Mary, Johnny, or Harry as what the barrier might be, or they click flags in the software themselves and get a response from me, because not a lot of kids want to chuck their hand up and say, hey, I'm not doing so well. So the software itself has been a huge enabler. The evidence of that was running a pilot. I had no knowledge of the students who were turning up in the holidays, in apostrophes. We had 54 intermediate students turn up, and they ran micro projects of the innovation program using all the facilities, and in terms of applications and so forth, 51 left with industry certifications from intermediate schools. And that was being able to hone in on the learning style, hone in on how they're actually accessing the content. And it's a class full of 50-odd kids. It's pretty interesting, and there's a real test of Aruba in the wireless and so on. But being able to do that, and that was over 10 hours, 2 5-hour lessons. So, and the 3 students who didn't make it, if that's your query in your mind, they'll be coming in on the 27th to do some more. So,
excellent. How are we doing, Steve? We out of time? Right on time. Look at that. So, any questions? We'd love to talk to you upstairs on the 5th floor at the HPE booth if you get a moment. So.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, team.